Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. A bit of a late start recording this week. I've been in bed most of the week with a bug, but now I'm alive and kicking. It's Sunday morning here, and what I want to do today is I want to cover some information on premium price products, because we're often told, you make sure it's premium price, premium value, etc., but we don't get to determine the value. The conversion rate and the customer's card determines the product value, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't sell at a premium price, the market is saying no, regardless of how emotional attachment we got towards the product. So as I said, this was I did this back in May. I wanted to find out this information to go more in depth, so I got the data team to take a look at this. And yeah, I'll get into it. I'll explain more in here. But as I said, follow along if you're listening to the podcast, walking your dog, in front of your computer while you're working and stuff. When I summarize this at the end, it will going to make a lot more sense. But what I'll do is going to break down each part, and this is a conclusion that you guys can take away for yourself. So it's very common for sellers to come to me and ask me why their products are not converting. So the most common factor, if they do not check the average price on the page, right? So per keyword target. So I'm at an event, I'm speaking to someone, and they're saying their PPC is not converting or the listing's not converting. And the first thing I do is, all right, pull up your phone, let's do a search. So what we find is often the products is priced 50% higher or more. Okay, and for me, I'm a big believer, if you can build a better mousetrap on or below the average price of the page, then you've got to win. However, we know this is far from easy, right? Because with logistical costs, lack of volume of discounts on new products, and the war having a knock-on effect to materials. So we know this is a very, very tough ask. You could call it a bit of a unicorn, but Amazon is still a platform where people feel that they need to get value for money, and I'll go into a bit more about that later. So often, and not always, premium products are turned into premium products only because the product costs were underestimated, right? And so the brand owner is looking, to increase the sale price in order to get the margin back, right? So the thing is, this is okay for Nike and Apple and other leading brands, but most of us do not have this level of social currency to play that game, right? However, as we always know, because someone will message me and go, no, Dan, I do this and it's fine, blah, blah, blah. But there's an exception to every rule. This doesn't apply to every Amazon seller, that they can work to a premium price and get top 3 or 4 ranking guaranteed each and every time. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some tests that we ran based on 400 product keywords in various categories in peak 4 of last year, with an average search frequency rank of 1000 on the .com platform. So it was important to avoid out of season testing on product keywords, and what we did is we used an array of popular categories that our community use and a search frequency rank of 1000. So because we want to avoid that unfair advantage of sub 1000 product keywords that are grandfathered in with rich conversion history and reviews for this test. So let's look at, firstly, we're going to look at the price difference between PPC and organic, right? So for those that can see, as I said, you can switch over onto YouTube to check this to see the charts, right? So this is a density graph that shows the distribution of the product prices. So on the x-axis is the divergence from the average price in the niche, and the red line shows organic products, and the blue shows PPC. Okay? So what you need to note here is the much higher peak of the red organic line around the normal pricing here at the top. This means there's a much higher percentage of organically ranked products that are close to the average price of the page, which I mentioned earlier. But in contrast, the blue line, the blue PPC line, is higher on the slide, which means that there is a high percentage of both lower priced and higher priced PPC products. So the conclusion that we're drawn from this, PPC ASINs are priced 18% higher on average. This makes sense, right? Because a lot of people will up their price in order to incorporate PPC costs. PPC costs has gone up. Generally, across the board, last 3 years, hundreds and hundreds of percent. I don't know the exact percentage today. I think some like Destiny will have a better grip on that, on tracking that. So I'm sure she's covered that before. A lot more organic ASINs are priced around the average than the PPC, right? i.e. there is a lot more price outliers in PPC. Also, there's more slightly lower priced PPC ASINs, and there are many more higher priced PPC ASINs. Going back to my point to incorporate a bit more margin in order to run the PPC to operate at top of search. Then we looked at the influence of price on organic rank. So in this diagram here we're looking at the prices of the top 4 organically ranked products. So with ranks 1 through to 4 marked on the x-axis, okay? So each line on the graph represents a search term. The y-axis is the divergence from the normal pricing, okay? And the dark band around 0% shows there's a common band of price variation among these top products. So if you look closely, you can also see the price trends slightly upwards as we move away from rank 1. The conclusions drawn from this. So product prices among the top 4 organically ranked ASINs typically range between -26% below the average up to 20% above the average. But on average, the price of the top ranked product is only 2% below the average, and each higher rank is only 1% more expensive than the one before. Now we've seen this, you do a load of searches, you go down, you're chatting shit, you know, we're looking and that price is this and this is this and there's jump around. Of course there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, but it's just a conclusion taken from a pretty tightly controlled test that most people wouldn't even bother attempting on 400 product keywords in a certain period. So just bear with me on this one. So then correlation of reviews and organic rank. Okay, so here we're looking at the review counts of the top 4 organically ranked products with ranks 1 through to 4 marked on the x-axis and review counts on the y-axis. Each line of the graph represents a search term on the given day. Yeah, so look, as you can see, each line on the graph represents a search term on the given day. I just want to show you to give you a bit more headspace to take that in. Now, the conclusion of that is there's a very strong trend for higher ranked products to have higher reviews. No shit, Sherlock, right? That's a given, that's a standard. However, among the top 4 ranked products, rank 2 has on average 20% fewer reviews than rank 1. Rank 3 has 20% fewer than rank 2, and rank 4 has 20% fewer than rank 3. So obviously they go in a cascading effect with a drop on average of 20% reviews lesser. So you launch a new product, you've got high velocity keyword, we see where we're going here. You know, like you want to rank that product. So if you want to be in that top 3 on a premium price and you think that you're going to match that level of reviews and you need to be in a cutting distance from number 1 to number 2 to number 3 to hit 4, for instance, there's going to have to be roughly a 20% differentiation between you and the one above you. So correlation of star ratings and organic rank. Let's look at the chart here. So here we're looking at a density plot of rating stars for the top 4 organically ranked products with the number of stars shown on the x-axis. So the ranks are color coded with rank 1 in the red at the top. Now go back there so you can just soak up the chart a bit. You can see on the index here, 1 is red, 2 is green, 3 is blue, and 4 is a mauve color. So the conclusions from this, there's very little difference in the number of stars among the top 4 organic positions. We know that, pretty standard, yeah? So the most common number of stars is 4.7, which everyone tends to tackle to try and maintain and keep, right, because of keeping up a high conversion rate to stay in those positions in terms of velocity, and our important visually reviews have impact on the purchaser of the product. So the most common number of stars is 4.7 in all 4 top organic positions, and 93% of the products in the top 4 positions show 4.5 stars or more, i.e. they have 4.3 stars or better. So look at the conversion share, what we looked at for 10,000 search terms, and this is again peak Q4 November 2021. So here we investigate the conversion shares for the top 10,000 search terms in November 2021. Conversion share, as we know, is the percentage of orders that go to a specific ASIN among the orders through a specific search term. The data comes from the Brand Analytics report, which provides information on the 3 most clicked ASINs as per search term. This graph shows the average conversion share on the y-axis for each of the top clicked ASINs. The conclusion we take from this: among the top 10,000 search terms in November 2021, 12% of the orders went to the top clicked item, 7.5% to the next, and then 5.5% to the next. This also means that the second bestseller had 35% fewer sales, and the third bestseller had another 26% fewer. So let's look at the distribution of conversion rate. So the simple density graph here shows the common difference between, the common different conversion rates are, right? So with the conversion rate on the x-axis, we see that the most common one is around 11% roughly. So from there, the fraction of products with higher conversion rates drops off rapidly down to a tiny fraction that has conversion rates around 40%. So such products often only costing a couple of dollars. Now, if we look at the distribution of conversion rates, the short tail versus long tail, we're using the heat map here graph. So we want to know how conversion rate changes with popularity in a 2-dimensional density graph provides the insight here. So on the x-axis is the conversion rate, and on the y-axis is the popularity rank from the Brand Analytics report. As we move upwards, the keywords become increasingly long tail. Now, at any point on the y-axis, you can find the most common conversion rate by looking at the center of the brightest color. In this example is the green here. So notice how the conversion rate moves to the right for longer tail keywords. Now, the conclusions for this: among the search terms that we investigated in depth with ranks from 1,000 to 40,000, we see that approximately 11% is the most common conversion rate. However, as expected, long tail keywords tend to have higher conversion rates. Based on this 2D density graph, we can see that the most common conversion rates for brand analytic ranks is sub 10,000 is around 7.5%. So final wrap here. So for some of the guys listening back on the podcast, you may not have got all of that and soaked it up. So let me just want to summarize something here. So what we're going to look at is expecting a top 3 organic ranking with premium price products on a consistent basis presents an absolute huge challenge on high velocity products. So with the current way that the market's going and the rate of success of Amazon sellers, and we know we have the, we can work to that Pareto's law of 20, the 80-20 rule. You're always going to find that your 20% is going to do the heavy lifting and the 80% is going to be doing the carrying. You're going to have your hero products versus the also rents. So what we have to be careful of here is if we look at Amazon as a platform, right? So even if you look at historically look at Amazon, everyone sees or feels that Amazon, I'm using the word feels instead of facts, feels that Amazon is the better option, right? They're convenient, it's easier to put your cards in, you can trust them, and you're likely to get a good price. So people still are going to Amazon, and also as a marketplace, Amazon, if it in aggregate is 11% cheaper than all the other marketplaces generally. Okay. So there's the mindset there. Now you could argue that wealthy or affluent people don't mind paying a bit extra. They don't mind the extra. But 75% of those will still do a price compare. They will still check on price. The reason they are wealthy is because they're financially literate. If you're not financially literate, then you are going to buy purely off emotion. We all buy off emotion, right? That we like certain things. We have an emotional buy on stuff. But if we try and pretend that wealthy people are shit with money, then we're going to get lost in the mix here. So the point I'm trying to make here is that it's not impossible to rank premium price products, but you're far better off being realistic with it. Okay. And when I mean by being realistic with it, you want a premium price product? Cool. But can you sit in positions 5, 6, and 7 and make that product work? If you can, that's great. What I don't want you to do, right, is say, oh, well, someone says, premium price, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to make it a premium product, and then break your back to try and keep it or get it to positions 1, 2, and 3, where, majority of the sales come from. And expect that, because all you're going to do is drive yourself fucking mad. So what I'm trying to do is set in a bit of realistic expectations here on what you may achieve that, right? And there will be people that can knock it out the park. There's always going to be a unicorn pissing the rainbow. You're always going to have people like, it's the same with gift keywords. I know one person, she exited her business. She's one of the first to go through that whole phase of exiting, and that wasn't even to an aggregator. She literally built her business on gift keywords, but they are rare, right? So if you find people like that, what we need to do is we need to capture them from the wild. We bring them in and we study them for other sellers, because they are unicorns pissing the rainbow. We have to live in an objective reality. So my conclusion to this, and people can challenge it, and that's cool. Go and do the same research that we've did and look at it. All I want is, because I know that we've been told this, and I hear it all the time, premium price products, we've got to present the value and stuff, and then it doesn't always work for people, and people are spending a shit ton of money, and it's tough to be in this game at the moment. So all I want to do is reset some expectations and say, what about if we accept that 5, 6, 7, 8, good. We make that a business if you've got the velocity there. So one of the things where you can start to counter, it's no secret, it's not exactly a hack, but you can use coupon code to bring your discount below the average price of the page, right? If you can afford it. And remember, I'm using 60%, 66% as an example, because that's one of the most common themes I've seen. So when you're using a coupon, all right, if you're going to use PPC, because PPC is expensive, right? It's not going to work for everyone. And that's coming from someone who's got an agency. I ain't afraid to say it. So you want to target the clip rate maybe around 66%, because then you can add back and have 34% to play with. Reviews matter. We know this. You don't need to be Einstein to understand that. But statistically, those with the most will dominate the positions and closely correlate. So it goes back to when you're launching again. Are you going to get into those top 3 or 4 positions? Are you going to be able to get within 20 feet, a 20% reach of the one above that you want to attain? Whether it's 1 from 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Keeping it consistent, we know that, it's been spoke about for years. 4.7, we'd love to keep it there, but don't forget, when you're launching, it can be a tough ask if you get a bad review. One bad review, I think, is 18.5 5-star reviews after that, right, to make it work, in order to get it back up. That's all one review. And you're never going to blast it with PPC, because who wants to buy a product that has one review with 1 star? You're toast, right? But again, we're coming back to this thing. There's always an exception to the rule. You know, what you ask yourself, would I jump out the plane on the 50-50? Now, this isn't 50-50, but it gives you an example. You go, no, but you're putting money up to burn, right? Well, not to burn, to invest. So ranking premium price products, I believe, is a misnomer. I'd like to be corrected. There is always going to be exceptions to the rule. See a lot of accounts all the time, talk to a lot of people. Most common problem is, why is my listing not converting? The most common answer is, show me, do a search, pull up the app, use your keyword, put it in, always higher price, much higher price. There's more opportunity in higher ticket priced items, but of course the risk becomes the mass increase in inventory and marketing spend. We've seen now, right now, with the war going on, with the way the logistics have been, with inventory terms, cash is going to be king and queen in your business. But if you've got good cash flow, right, there's a lot less competition, and it'll be easier, not easy, but easier to use PPC to rank. You're still going to need a tremendous conversion rate to get the traction, but if you think about it, if you've got a high ticket item and the velocity is 5 or 6 units a day, as an example, could be 10, could be less or whatever. But if you're converting well through PPC and you've got very, very good margins on that high ticket price item, getting there the number of units that you need to get the correlation between ranking organically and spending through PPC, there's a tighter line there to work to in terms of how long will it take me to sell 3 units. Now it's more difficult because there's more research and everything goes behind it. So it's harder to make that sale because the amount of research and stuff. So if we look at statistically, people, men and women will go up to, I think men's $30, women 27 or something. I can't remember the date, so it's old now. But before they start to make their in-depth decision making on what product to buy. So will it be, there's always a trade-off in toughness at the other end. That I think is just about it. Yeah, going back to the keyword thing, do not rely on gift keywords ever. They are just add-ons, right? As I said, unicorns, pissing rainbows. If you find one, we capture them, we study them for other people. Always make sure that you're focused on getting the right keywords. Now, next time out when I get a bit of time, I've got some more A9 stuff, and I want to show you with A9 what they mean by product type and modifier and how that works on ranking and relevance in A9. I'll cover that more in depth at another time, but hopefully you've enjoyed the show today. I'll see you again soon, and take care of yourself and your family. Much love. See you again soon.